Ugh. Second stream of the day. I don't play. All right, sound check as always. Second stream of the day. Oh yeah, that's actually working. Bars. Alrighty, thanks to those that joined the earlier stream, discussion I had with Jesse Veal about blue pill tricking and the value of your time. That was a very good a good conversation, I think, and I think a little bit better understanding and diving a little bit deeper into some of the things that are said in our space. Jesse Veal is definitely a person that has a great bit of knowledge and has been in the space really in its foundation. So definitely look at what he said or listen to what he says and appreciate it and go forward from there. And you can actually just take that type of stuff and go forward in life and use it to your benefit. So, but back to Obfuscate. So this is of course a stream about programming, coding. I've been watching Castlevania, so that's why I'm a little bit late, and I also just wanted to lay back a little bit. I probably won't be doing the stream too long. I will be reviewing some of the things that I discovered after the stream. Last night's stream was really good. Richard Dixon, as always, comes with one of his problems, and we go through it and we figure it out, And really, what's always like great about doing those problems with Richard Dixon, a brother that has donated to the channel, and not just donated, like, because that's nice, but he's actually used, what this channel is and what it's about, and he's always a person that I respect for actually using me as a source of knowledge or a way of solving problems. And I'm here to be used, guys. I'm totally open for it. Want you guys to use me in terms of, getting what you need in terms of figuring out problems, progressing, getting information, getting a better mindset and attitude of things that, or mindset and attitude of how to go about certain things, whether it be in coding or maybe even in life, if you want to, take it that far, or finances. So that was definitely fun going through that with him. What we're gonna do now. Last night I was working with RSS feeds, and the problem I had is that I wanted to post something to Discord without having to wait for a message to come, right? So what I was able to figure out, I was able to get an article from devdungeon.com. It's this one here, Discord bot tutorial. I got some information from this. I'm gonna put that link in the chat there, as well as this right here. I've never gone through a collection, or what is called a collection or a map. So maps and collections, let's go ahead and look at what those actually are. So entries. So usually with a set of JSON objects, you can actually iterate through them with a for loop. But then there's also what they call maps or collections. So I do want to get what collections are, but they're different types of objects. They present themselves. It's kind of like a node list is like an array in terms of the way it's organized, but it's not exactly an array. Now you can use higher order functions or array-based functions on them, like a for each and every and things like that, but they're not really arrays as in terms of the way they're defined. The same thing goes for like a map or collection. With a map or collection, and I say map or collection because I'm not exactly sure what it is. So let me get the proper definition. Object collection. All right, so methods. Okay. Just looking this up here. The keys method returns contains keys. This is in the map object session order. So let's look at this. Okay, here we go. I think this is the precursor to what we're going to read next. So a map. The map object holds key value pairs and remembers the original insertion order of the keys. Any value, both objects and primitive values, may be used as either a key or a value. So, okay, that's pretty cool. So what it's saying is that it actually has an order to it, or it remembers the original order in which certain things are added. The thing about JSON objects is there's no real rhyme or reason to the order of them. They just get put in there and that's it. But it looks like a map actually maintains the state of the order that the keys, in which the keys were actually placed in there, or the items were placed within, the key value pairs were placed in the object itself. Somewhat like an array, because an array you have indexes, or you have points on that. So or what's it called? Yeah, indices that mean, hey, listen, this was put in before this. So I can actually go through an array in an ordered fashion. For instance, if I know by the way I write an array that at point 0 or at index 0, there's going to be this value or this type of value or this bit of information that correlates to this, then I can write multiple arrays like that and always expect it to be the same, giving it a bit of predictability there. Now, with a JSON object, you don't really have that. And it's kind of hard to say, hey, listen, I want the first thing out of a JSON object. Well, if a JSON object is written with all the key value pairs that you need, who cares really about the order? All you would have to say is this: I want the key called name in this JSON object. It doesn't matter if it's written last or first or in the middle. So I guess a map is kind of the best of both worlds, if you will. And this is kind of like my, I'll say, primitive understanding of what a map is. So that's pretty cool. All right, so you can set different things in a map, and then you could say map.size. Okay, that's cool. Map.getA, outputs 97. Okay, so I can reset it. So it was 1 first, and now it's 97. And then I can actually delete things out of a map. So if you wanted to delete something out of a actual a JSON object, you would actually just use the delete keyword, and that's just something that we were working on last night with Mr. Dixon. So that was pretty cool. Okay, cool. So a map object iterates its elements in insertion order. A for of loop returns an array of key value for each iteration. So one thing I didn't notice that it uses a for of instead of a for in. So when I was trying to again, the problem I was having is I needed to know the channel ID, but I don't want it to be where if the channel ID, I need to iterate through all of the channel IDs and find out a channel ID that matches, whatever name I want to put in, such as finance. And then I want to put a message within that channel ID. But to put a message in a channel, I need to know its ID. But if I don't, I would have to manually go and find its channel ID. And I was like, I don't want to do that. I want the bot to be able to say, okay, here are all the channels that I have access to via this guild, or here are all the guilds that I have access to. So it does have options to do things like that, but it's kind of hard to find the right way of doing it. And then I had to like stumble upon, finding a map and collection, or understanding how to iterate through a map and collection, and how it is different than something like how it's different than working with a regular object or an array. So with an object, I can do a for in, but it looks like, so there's pre-ES6 and how to iterate through a map or collection, or a map, I should say, just a map. I keep on saying or collection, but it's pre-ES6, so I'd have to do a for loop. I'd have to do this right here is almost like going through an array. Yeah, it's just like going through an array. So I have to traverse an array within a for in loop. So yeah, so I would be like var m in and my map, and then my map, and that would be like a JSON object. And that's usually how you iterate through a JSON object, where m would equal whatever the key name is. And then you can also do things like, matching whatever the value of m is. Like if m equals name, then do this, so on and so forth. Now, if I had to do something like a map or this right here, this is how you would iterate through an actual array, an actual array. So again, like I was talking about before, a map is the I guess the child. It's like if an array and a JSON object had a baby, and the importance of it is it has the property of an array where it maintains the entry points for the items placed in it, the objects placed in it, or the key value pairs placed in it, and then while still being a JSON object in the way it looks. So you have to attack it in a the way I look at this is you have to attack it in a combo-like fashion. So you have to look at it as it is an array, not an array of JSON objects, but a JSON object that acts like an array. Anyways, so let's move it on. So for ES6, ES 2015, you should use map object, which has entries function. And when you can go through the entries function, you go through that. So I didn't use that. I used this right here, ES8. And this was valid in my version of my Node.js. So if I do Node-V, I think I'm on 14. Yeah. So I'm on version 14.17.2. And versions are, of course, important because these standards, ESS or ES8, ES6, pre-ES6, things like that, that matter in terms of what version the underlying built-in, how would you say, the underlying built-in functionality of the actual language is going to be fundamentally different between ES6 and ES8 because they've added other things and made actual changes as well. This is why some people still probably use version 12, I believe, of MongoDB, or not MongoDB, but of Node.js. All right, so in ES8 2017, object.entries was introduced. So let's go back to the Oh, we didn't start off with art. Forgive me. I found I think this guy was pretty cool, or this person is pretty cool. And Antelos Chow, free rants. Look at free rants illustrator, concept artist in Taiwan. That's hilarious. I think he did that on purpose. That's hilarious. But I looked at this video, or this image here, and I thought it was Shishomaru from Inuyasha. So I really liked this one and definitely downloaded it, and also downloaded the sketch or the outline of it. And I thought this was really cool. But then there are some other pieces in here too, such as this one right here, Berserker. Like, this is a cool one, like just the face, teeth, and everything, the horns, just the destruction. Went really simple down here. I do like the mixture of colors of the beast and its fur or skin or what have you. I thought that was pretty cool. Don't know if this is like a big mace or something like that, or an axe, but really cool how it's breaking the ground, releasing lava, fire, and stuff like that. And then this right here reminded me of Bahamut. from Final Fantasy. So I thought this was a really cool one here. So it's a dragon, dark evil. But yeah, and into Los Chow. So let's go ahead. I usually like to start it off with art with you guys, and these are the things that I look at. Definitely help me take my mind off of just going, and just like really going at it here. So let me go ahead and put that in the chat. Let's talk about that mindset and such. All right, so object.entries. The object.entries method returns an array of a given object's own enumerable string keyed property, key value pairs. This is the same as iterating with a for in loop, except that a for in loop enumerates properties in the prototypes chain as well. I don't totally understand what the hell that was. All right, cool. So the order of the array returned by the object.entries is the same as the provided provided by a for in loop. If there is a need for different ordering, then the array should be sorted first. Like, okay, so you can actually hit it with a sort function and then do alphabetical ordering if you needed to, or something like that. Locale compare. I've never used that function before. All right, cool. So parameters, object, the object whose own enumerable string key pairs, key value pairs are to be returned return value, an array of given objects, an array of the given object's own enumerable string keyed property, key value pairs. Okay. All right, so let's just read this a little bit more because I want to understand this too. Object entries returns an array whose elements are arrays corresponding to the enumerable string key property, key value. All right, so it gives you the key and then gives you the value, but it shows it in a bracket as if it's an array. So, okay, that's cool. Pairs found directly upon the object. Okay. The ordering of the properties is the same as that given by looping over the property values of the object manually. Okay. And there's polyfill for compatibility. I'm not going to read that. All right. I want to understand a little bit more about it, and it seemed like, I was kind of somewhat on the money. I could have been a little bit more polished in my explanation, of course. All right, cool. I was just reading some of the comments here. But yeah, Stack Overflow here, and this is kind of what I use. And the thing that I wanted to do here is, so I wrote a function, and that function just puts a message in the chat, and I want that to happen on startup. So I have async function channel finance, so something in the finance channel, and that has a set interval within it. And then every 5 seconds per the set interval, it actually posts that article or posts an article, or the first article from the RSS feed, because we talked about last night about the RSS feed and retrieving information from said RSS feed or from an RSS feed. All right. So here we have our RSS feed. We go through and we fetch the channel ID. So let's do this. Channel. I don't need this. Yeah, this is not needed. So we have our set interval, and it goes through and runs this code here. Great. All right, good. I think we don't need that one there. And where is fetch channel ID? All right, great. So we're gonna get the channel ID from somewhere else here. We do it in the on ready. So at the beginning, of beginning of all of this. So client.onceOnReady, meaning that it's logged in, the bot is logged in at this point, and now the bot is going to go ahead and talk to the actual guild or the Discord server in this case. And then once on ready, run our channel function. So at this point, I want to let channels or let channels equal client.channels.cache, because that is the store of all the channels that I have available to me via this actual client. So in this case, I am going to take this out, and I want to show console.log. I want to show what channels actually equals, and then we can actually view that as the map there. And here let's see what happens here. I shouldn't run anything else. Yeah. Great. So this is what essentially, this is what I have access to, and this is what I'm looking at. As you can see, let's go up a little bit. Yeah, perfect. Shows all the channels. And we could break it down from here. Here we go. All right, so we have, and this is why I keep on calling it collection and map, because you have your collections, or what's known as collections, in the Discord bot or via Discord.js, but it's an actual map item or a map object. So that map object itself, you can see that it shows up like a JSON object, but it almost looks like, you have like a little arrow function look here, and it says category channel. And then you also have the type of channel, if it's a text channel or not, or something like that. So I could break this down even further if I needed to. But the important thing is getting this actual channel ID. Then underneath that channel ID, it actually has a name. So this says, in this case, this is the name of all text channels. So I should be able to go through this and find out all the different text channels, I guess. Right? Right here, guild manager, I can find out all the different channels. So let's go down a little bit further here, and there's a specific channel that I do want. So I could do name Grizzly Den, and then type category. So category channel. Let's see here. I think there's a difference. The category channel, and then type category versus type category. The type should change. Like for instance here, I could see type text, and then let's see what channel this is actually. So this is a general channel. So this is where everyone usually has access to. And then we should have the channel that we're our target channel. We have an Obfuscate channel, and then its ID, so I can actually look at it and do whatever I need to. So if I was to look at this, I could see that if I go back here, in the URL, this should be our channel ID. Yeah, 49. Yeah, so this should be our channel ID here. It's 4922. No, actually, I guess this will be our server ID, maybe. Maybe this is our server ID, but this is our channel ID here. I was getting confused because it's 854 and then they both end in 49, but there's the 2249 here. So that's our actual channel ID, and I could have just, taken it and gone from there. But the thing is, when you're programming or writing code, you have to think about the fact that, it's going to be users that don't want to do stuff like that. It's going to be users where they're going to access your code or your functionality of what you've written through some type of web browser, control panel, something else that adds a bit of an abstraction layer, allows you to restrict their movements and add further control for you, and also a better user experience. Instead of saying, hey, listen, I need your channel ID. How do you get your channel ID? Go here, here, and here. And it's like, no, how about this? I already have a code. I already have a bit of code. You click on this button. It says get all channels and give me all my channel IDs in a nice list. And we'll go through that here in a second. So, and we'll go through it here in a second and break down how to use the code that we got from Stack Overflow. So in this case, I have all this information, and then I access all of this just like a regular JSON object. These are key value pairs. It's no longer just like a map or anything like that. It's funny. It even has a property that says NSFW. That's hilarious. All right, cool. So I got all my channels, and what we're going to do here is you're going to copy this bit of code here just for our testing. Oh, wait. Damn it. Yeah. So all this does is value.name.includes, and this is just an if, and then it says channel finance key, and then do whatever I need to in this channel finance, what is it called, function here. But I want to do something different. In this case, let's get rid of that. And so as we can see here, key value of, so this is a for of loop as opposed to a for in loop. The for in loop, you use that to iterate through a JSON object. A for loop, you would usually use, or you can use, to iterate through an array. A for of loop, you're going to use that to iterate through a map. So in this case, key value of channels.entries, right? And we can see that we're using the .entries method, which we just learned about. So let's go back to that and read that a little bit more. Here we go. Object.entries. Method returns an array of a given object's own enumerable string key properties, key value pairs. Okay, so it gives us an array of all these things, right? So I want a little bit more than that. So let's do entries. And let's just do the entries method before we move on to the other stuff. So it gives it to us. There's a little bit of difference here because you can see that, hey, it's instead of having just like a like nested in a JSON object, we actually see some some square braces there. Let's see how this. So we can see all these JSON objects within them. This is where we have our key value pairs within them, represented as JSON objects. So that's pretty cool. So we're going to have, it's almost like an array. No, it's a JSON object of arrays. Okay, so I want to see how the top of this looks. This is interesting. And I'm learning, I'm learning this right now. But we can see our map entries, and then we can see the array, and then we can see the actual, this should be the key, and then this would be the value. Now, one thing you have to understand when you're from some programs, and I don't know why it does this, I haven't learned this yet, but for some programs, they'll return things like category channel, but that doesn't mean that's actually the key, or the, that doesn't mean that it's actually the key for the key value pair, right? Like you're not going to say, oh, okay, this is in this array, this is position 1, and this is position 0 or index 0, and this is index 1. And then if I wanted to access index 1, it's category channel, because you start to see that it's missing the colon, right? And I always thought that was weird because I observed this and I'm like, okay, that's not normal output. I don't understand how this works, blah, blah, blah. Well, one thing I've learned thus far in terms of like, deciphering this stuff and looking at input and dissecting input is that, oh, actually, hold on, let me do something here. Sorry about that, guys. Share. Just putting that out. I just had to share that, share the link for this. All right. So one thing I've looked at here in the past is when you have these map entries, you have the array, or sorry, I'm wrong. When you have this output and it has like this title to it, I don't understand that yet. I don't understand why that output's like that. I've seen it with Coinbase and other APIs where they'll output almost like a title, and that confused me. Needless to say, this should be the key here, and then this is the key's value, right? The key itself, and then the key's value is an actual JSON object. So once you understand that, that means I can access this as the key and getting that information. But in this case, I want to access the value. So let's go back to this here. So when we look at this, where it says const is key value. So we have the key, which is this right here, which is the channel ID, which is also shown here. So we can get that out of the value portion of it, or the index position 1 as opposed to index position 0. We can get it either way. But again, like I talked about earlier on in the stream, the index or knowing the a predictable output of your array, or having a predictable output of your array, is knowing what's at key at index 0 and what's at index 1. So what's nice about this is that it should always be that in this case, the unless they change it, but as it is now, the index 0 will always be the ID of the channel. And then index 1 will always be the JSON object that represents the channel in terms of all of the information that's within it, or about that channel. If it's, what type of category it is, what name it is, and things like that. Cool. So it's good to know that, right? So now we say const key value, and then of course that changes every single time. And then now I can say of channel.entries. So we're looking at the output of channel.entries because we're looking at the entries within a map. So that's really nice. All right. So in this case, we'll take this out. And then at that point, it's really kind of just like what we're used to in terms of iterating through an array or iterating through a JSON object. We're going to do our, we won't do channel.entries. We don't need to do all that. But what we will do is look at value, because we have access to the value. And then that value is a JSON object. So I want all of the names, and I want their IDs. So let's just do a template literal here. Get that started. So channel. We can actually make this a whole new JSON object if we wanted to, but I'm just trying to think of the output to where it's like, oh, okay, this looks nice. I'm trying to think of that. And also channel entries. One thing I notice is I don't see something that counts in here. Like if we look at this here, if we look at this pre-ES6 and going through an actual map, we would have an I or something like that, just to show us the index of everything. No, actually that I just matches. Yeah, there's no do something with my map. Okay. Something interesting, because maybe I wanted to just list out the different numbers of those channels and stuff like that and have it in like an order. That would be kind of cool. But all right, so channel info. And we'll go here, we'll say name. So channel info, it's just like, we could do name. Yeah. I'm sorry, I'm just trying to be kind of nice with it in terms of how it looks. So value.name, because the value in this case is a JSON object that we can actually query or take pieces of. So name, and then we can even write if statements like, okay, well, if it's a text, it has to be of type text or something like that. So actually, let's do that. So if right? So if value dot type equals what text, then go ahead and console this. We only want text channels, or the text channels that are or channels with a type of text as opposed to category, because category would be like a text or all of our text channels or something like that. I don't want all that. I just want a list of this. So I'm just kind of filtering out a little bit. So channel info name and ID. And again, so we're using template literal, so we can actually go for it by doing ID like that. And let's see here. Kill that. Right. So now we can see channel info, name, general, and ID is this. And then, you know, again, as you see, it's only 3 channels, and it shows all 3 channels that we have here. And, or sorry, all our 3 text channels. I have no voice channels or anything like that yet. So, I mean, that's nice. It's like, okay, now I can actually get all these channels and I can get them dynamically. I can list them as needed. I can get all the text channels, all the voice channels. I can say, hey, listen, as long as the channel doesn't equal this or something like that. So, for instance, if it's not equal to category, right? Because maybe I want all the voice channels as well. All right, so now you can see that I have a general channel, but then I have a capital general channel, and that's my voice channel. So maybe we want to do something like get the type, so name, use this as a separator, type. Again, this is like simple stuff in compared to some of the other stuff that we've done. But I like to do things like this because it's like it allows me to explore and break things down a little bit more. Also, it's a feel good thing as well. So type. All right, and then maybe I want to do like a 2 uppercase. So I can do that, or I can capitalize the whole thing, or capitalize the first letter with like using a function or something like that. But I usually like to do things like this because it's also like, yeah, as I said, a feel good thing. It's like, oh, okay, shit, I got something to work. Awesome. Let's see if I break anything here. No. All right, cool. So I got type text and go from there. So now I know all my text and voice channels. So now if I wanted to present this to a front end or present this to a user via a front end, now I can actually show them, okay, these are all your text channels. These are all your voice channels. I can, you know, do more. I can do more from that. Or, you know, just give them all of, you know, give them everything in these, you know, add this to a whole new array or something like that. You know, this filtered bunch. Maybe I can use a dot filter to filter this information and say, okay, I only want this information out there, and go from there. So use the dot filter higher order function, which I do not use enough. So I definitely want to start using some stuff like that. All right, cool. So if I look at these, we got our channels and channel info. So now let's get rid of this and show what we did last night after the stream. So I spent a little bit more time after the stream. Spent a little bit more time after the stream and just looked at this a little bit more and said, okay, well, you know, let's figure it out. So what I did is using the same for of loop, and then saying if name includes finance, go ahead and do this. So this way I can actually do things based off of the actual channel itself. And then I can have a function that says finance, and then I pass it the key. Probably one of the things that I probably want to do is actually pass it the entire value, right? So let's actually pass it the entire value, because maybe there's some more information that I can get out of that I want to give to that function. So it can have more information about what this this channel does, and what capabilities or other stuff that I want to add in there, because there's also a key that says NSFW, and is that it's marked as false. So maybe I want to do something based off of that, whether it's true or false. Add this type of stuff, like get Twitter posts from some like some booty Twitter, what's it called? Like booty appreciation Twitter account, or sorry, Instagram account. So that'd be kind of fun, so it's like, all right, if it's NSFW in the finance channel, not suitable for work, I'll put, so not suitable for work. It's not suitable for work. This is false. So if it's true, yeah. So since it's false, then I don't want to put any risque content in there. So something like that. All right. So includes finance, and let's go ahead. All right. Cool. Jump to that function. All right. Console log. Everything is done. So from here, it'll run our function here. So at every 5 seconds, it will post something from the RSS feed. So let's go ahead and we'll get rid of this because that's not needed, but we will do channel. We will change this. So it'll be like not channel ID, but it will be, actually, let's put that back in there. Do a replace, set channel ID. We're going to do channel object. So yes, yes. All right, good. So now from channel object, we have client.channels.fetch. So with this, if we go to our Discord bot documentation, we go to client, and we should have some methods here. All right, so the channels method, and then from the channels method, type channels, excuse me, and then we could do fetch. So just going there, like, just going from its client, and then I have a method of channel, and then the method of channel actually has a fetch method, and it says obtains, and it's like it needs the ID and then some options, and it shows me the options here. Obtains a channel from Discord or channel cache if it's already available. So that's important because there's some things that are cached in Discord. I'm still trying to understand that. I talked about that last night, but I don't fully understand it. But fetch a channel by its ID. So I can actually fetch it via its ID. I don't see anything where it's like I can fetch it. Resolves a channel, resolvable to a channel object. So I don't know what that means. If it means like, okay, resolve ID, resolves a channel resolvable to a channel ID string. I wonder if I could have just used something like this, resolve ID. So I can use something like this to actually get the ID of the channel. I'll probably have to look at this a little bit more. Maybe I could say get finance channel and go from there. Yeah, and see channel name. All right, we'll work on this afterwards. I want to actually I want to see what that uncovers for us here. So in this case, I'll do fetch.channel, and then so it's a denable here, and then parse URL. So I have channel, and then from here I could do channel.send, and then send this link from that I got from my feed entries from my RSS feed. So all that's defined here. So I could probably break this into other functions or something like that. And as I'm going through this, maybe have like just finance channel functions and all the functions for our other channels to keep this a little bit cleaner. But we'll do that in time. So in this case, I'll do channel.object ID, right? Because before I was passing it the actual channel ID to the function. Now I'm passing the entire channel object. So I need to take out the channel ID in this case. And that channel ID or that channel object is is derived from the channel map or the channels map. And that channel map is in terms of if it was an index for each channel, or an array for each channel, it would be at index 1 as opposed to index 0, because index 0 would be the key, or in this case, the channel ID. So in this case, I just want to pass the entire channel because it actually includes the channel ID plus a whole lot more information. I did that last part for myself. Okay, explain it to yourself a little bit. All right, so parts to feed, object ID, right, channel object. All right, so channel send. All right, great. So let's go ahead and watch this magic happen here. So we should get a new thing, a new article. Our bot will become alive in time, shows us logged in, and every 5 seconds, we should see some stuff. There we go. So now we're seeing where I got a new article and it's posting it every 5 seconds. And this seems to be pretty good because it doesn't give me, it doesn't like rate limit me or anything like that. So I think that's pretty cool. So we'll stop right there. So we can see that, you know, it's posting every 5 seconds. We can set this to something like every hour, check for a new article, and then post it in the chat and post the first article. Problem is, okay, well, I have the first article, but what if there was like 2 to 3 articles after that that were also posted, you know, on the website? And then also doing things like, okay, well, that article has been posted. I posted it already. How can I search through my previous message to say, hey, this has already been posted, don't post it again, or suppress that, you know? So that's one of the things that we want to get into. But I do want to look at this here. Yeah, so I do want to look at something that I saw here. Resolve ID. Channel resolvable to resolve. So parameter channel, type channel resolvable. So that's what it said. Data that can be resolved to give a channel object. This can be a channel object, a snowflake. Okay. I know a snowflake is the unique ID for an item within Discord. So users have a snowflake in terms of their number or a unique ID, or like what I like to call a UUID, or consider a UUID. A Twitter snowflake except the epoch of 2015. Okay. If we have a snowflake of, we can represent it as a binary. Okay. Number of milliseconds since Discord epoch, worker PID increment. Huh. Okay. So maybe this is not going to work how I expect it to. Represents a channel on Discord. I'm expecting I can actually just give it a name and that's it. You know, you see all these things and it's just like, okay, how do they resolve this stuff? I mean, do they just already know it? Like, what do they do? So channel manager. Resolve ID, resolve channel, resolves a channel resolvable to a channel object. The fudge is a channel resolvable? Fetch channel options, additional options for this channel. Default none. Excuse me. So channel.name is what we went through a moment ago, or what we can go through. In this case, I combined it so I can actually send something in there. No, I don't think this is going to work how I'm thinking it is. Resolves a channel resolvable to a channel object. Okay. Data that can be resolved to give a channel object. All right, well, let's try it anyway. So this is, I should have the method of this fetch and resolve ID. So in this case, this is So this should be client, channel, or channels. So client, and then channels, and then I should have the fetch method. Okay. All right. So let's get rid of this here. Channels. So that channels. So client channels dot resolve ID, and let me just give it a string and see if I can resolve it. Finance, and I'm just going to encapsulate that into a console log. See if it gives me anything. Nope, that was wrong. So channels.resolve ID is not a function. So client.channels. Client.channels. And then I can do resolve. But is it? And then channel. Oh. Wait, I did see this. I think the way they did it, I saw this in an example last night, but the way they did it is instead of seeing where it says resolve ID, you give it channels because you have all the channels from this client.channels.cache. So you give it channels. In this case, I have it as a variable channels, which is why I set it like that. No. Resolve ID is not a function. No. Okay. It's a little bit different. So I could probably do something like this if I do. Actually, we'll do this. So instead of giving it channels, I iterate through my channels entry or my channels variable, the entries within my channels variable, using for of or in a for of loop, and then I give it value, and then channels.resolve. Ooh. It says that doesn't exist as a function. Yeah, I think that's a capital I. All right, we'll try it after this though. So we should be passing this a channel object. All right. I mean, it gives us stuff, but it's like, if I go through this, let me see how this is organized. So we can see that it's a text channel, and then it being a text channel, yeah, I mean, it just gives us the value, so it's not really, okay, so ref1, I don't know how this makes it any, I don't know what this, the use of this is. Oh, okay, so it gives us the voice channel, or shows voice channel and text channel. But, okay, and then one, I should see something that says category. Okay, category channel, right there. All right. I want to use this. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out like the use of this. It may not be much of any use, to be honest. Unhandled promise rejection. It's not a function. It's like you're not a function, but you're showing as a usable function unless it's been deprecated and the documentation or this documentation is not up to date. Okay. Resolves a channel resolvable to a channel object. Resolves a channel resolvable to a channel ID string. Oof. Yeah, I don't know about the channel resolvable. Maybe I have to pass it, dot resolve and then go from there. So let's try that. I just really want to see what the hell, what's the point of this? Channel resolve ID. This is kind of crazy. It's like function inception here. Channel resolve and then value. Okay. I think I have all of my parentheses here. Yeah, this doesn't do much of anything for me. Maybe I don't understand it, but it just keeps on showing as not a function. So I'm probably using it in the wrong way, or it's been deprecated, which is a possibility. All right, get rid of that. Yeah, but now I have this. So I think that's a good bit of code there. Let's see what else I want to do here. I kind of want to get the history. I want to get chat history. So how can I do that? Okay. And I want to do this without, of course, a day. Whoa. This is a most excellent picture. Goldfish. I guess this is 3D. What? Kind of looks like a lizard. Almost like Michael Jackson, too. Crazy. Okay. Uh-oh, baby got back. She's not that far off from the goldfish. This is cool. It's a really cool image. Damn, that's gonna look great. I probably need to get plus members can display assets in 4K. Yeah, I'll probably get the Pro Plus for this thing. And yeah, that would be super nice because more visibility, blogs, portfolio website. Oh, okay. This has nothing to do with me. This is more or less for people that are the people that actually post this stuff in 4K. So this would be a waste of money for me, I think. More visibility, unlimited learning. Yeah, I don't need that. Anyways, that'd be really nice. Let's see what this Lucas Walser, lead artist at Animations Fabric. Oh, Fabric. Whoa, that's it's a different kind of snake there. It's a skull head snake there. Damn, that's really cool. I love the colors. All right. Let's see here. We want to Discord search chat. Using search chat archive bot, Discord bots. Is there a way to search chat in Discord? How do I change? Okay. I want to look through the documentation to find this though too. Client user. Let's see. I think there should be message. Message manager. Message. Discord message client data. The instantiating client, the data for the message. It'd be kind of cool if you have. Just think about this, right? So you look for your bot, and then you look for everything your bot posted in a chat. That'd be kind of cool. So I might do that, where I just look for whatever the bot posted, and then once I find whatever the bot posted, then I can do, whatever I need to on it and say, okay, is it the same link here, or what's the message content? That'd be kind of cool. So I could probably mark the chat. I can mark the. Let me think about that. Let's see if there's like a search function of some sort here too. Stickers, store channel, team member, typing, user. The beautiful sound of frogs at night. Like the frogs make so much damn noise and they're like super small. Doing all types of mating calls and stuff. All right, so channel, message embed, message flag, message manager, mentions, news channel. Oh, member. Instructor class. Let's see what's activity do. Group activity. Author of a message. Search in Discord. Dust off the old magnifying glass. Okay, so that's regular search in Discord. Let's do create message, get channel messages. Okay. Channels, channel ID, messages, returns a message for the channel. If operating a guild channel, this endpoint requires a view channel permission. If the current user is missing the read history permission, channel this will return no messages since they cannot read the message history. Returns an array of messages or array of message objects on success. Okay. One thing I noticed is I was reading this. One thing I noticed is this limit here. We noticed that last night when we were reading through this. And it says limit integer, max number of messages to return 1 to 100. So I should only have 100 messages, or I have access to only 100 messages. That could be a problem. Yeah, that could be a problem. Yeah, I might have to just do a database. Really, I mean, just thinking about it, man. Yeah, I might have to do a database call on it. I didn't want to. Yeah, we'll think about it. Because the only way I can ensure that this is going to be saved or this is going to work properly is as if I do a database call saying, okay, what's the difference between these two? Here are the latest articles or something like that. Yeah, I might have to just rethink about how I look at that. All right, we'll leave that alone then. And the reason I'm doing that is because I try not to think about, okay, listen, I just need to search through this and it's okay. I don't have to worry about that. But I think about like, okay, how is this going to work when this is a very active chat platform or something like that, or a chat server or a channel? I don't know if mine will ever get to that, but it's just something I think about with people that have bigger chat bots, or maybe turning this into a product, or maybe turning this into something else that, I can put in another product, like my Growbox project, if I ever bring that back up again or revive that project. Yeah, I'll have to save this to a database, which will be fine. And for me to do that now, I'm going to have to do things like, okay, sorry. I'm thinking I have to do things like actually get this into a proper, turn this into a proper app. Okay. Well, you know what? That'll be it for tonight then. I'll have to work on this to turn this into a proper app. And once I turn it into a proper app, then I can actually do some other more robust stuff, such as saving things in a database and going from there. All right, guys, thank you for that. That was more of an overview for tonight, and we did a couple cool things, and we found out some really nice stuff in terms of the Discord chat bot, and we can post stuff directly to an actual channel. So I think that's going to be really good in the long run in terms of what we want to do with this. And then we're also finding out some of the limitations in terms of like how often we can post to a Discord chat. It looks like it does have a bit of rate limiting to it and stuff like that. All right, guys, as always, thanks for listening. I really do appreciate you, especially the guys that are actually going to be joining later on, in the playback. Didn't get too many live viewers today, but, listen, I really do enjoy everybody that actually goes ahead and listens to this on playback. And for those of you that I do get on live, that's awesome too. I really do enjoy and appreciate all of you, really, and the interactions that I have with you all. Thank you so much for, in a sense, holding me accountable as well. Peace.